going on, YouTube? Hope you are having a great day as always. I'm outside, as usual, with the boys, hanging out. Alfie's right there. So I want to share with you a podcast interview discussion call I had with Jonathan Harvey, who is a serial entrepreneur. Right now, he's heavily involved in the restaurant space. He's got several restaurants and he's opening up more. He's just a very, very busy guy. We had a great chat about entrepreneurship, about business synergy, about how to optimize your daily routine and just crush it. You know, he's a big fan of Gary Vee. I like Gary Vee content as well. And this interview is very in line with all that type of stuff. So I hope you enjoy it. Hit it with a thumbs up if you do, or if you want to see more of these podcast interviews uploaded on the YouTube channel. Otherwise, you're more than welcome to check out We the Ether on iTunes, Stitcher, basically any podcast app that you're using, or check out We the Ether Instagram or wetheaether.com. And if you want to donate, feel free to donate. Basically, I just upgrade the equipment of the podcast when you do. So you can do that on the website as well. But otherwise, no big deal. Watch the content for free. not an issue. So hope you enjoy. Thumbs up. Hit that subscribe if you haven't already done it. And I will catch you again very soon.
All right, cool. So how you been?
Good. You know what? Honestly, busy, stressful. Just so crazy busy right now. We have the 2 restaurants on the go, but I've just got 3 more leases out right now that I've signed.
Okay.
So it's like I wouldn't say I have any other birds in the hand, but I've got them all in a cage. So I'm just right on the edge of just getting these other units going, and then they'll all be up within a year. So it's like I'll go from no restaurants when I sold El Jefe last year to having 5 within 2 years. So it's just, the challenge for me is like being able to manage my time effectively, you know, and then also you have to scale your people properly too, or you're kind of fucked.
And so why do 3 leases at once?
Honestly, because I probably have a screw loose. I don't. Yeah. You know what it is they're all really good opportunities. So it's tough for me not to, like. They're all different. So I'll have 3 different brands going as well. So it's not all going to be the same thing. Originally, I was the idea was to just go only NoMads, and I was just going to scale that. Now I've got 2 other concepts: Nacho Bar and Bonsai. Nacho Bar is like a dive bar. Bonsai is like a Japanese fusion place. That we're trying to put out there as well. And the timing, the people that I have are great. So just the timing worked really well. So,
okay. So would you be launching those and then sort of separating them and wanting to sell that off later, like sell off that brand separately, or keep it and sell off NoMads, or how would you structure that? What
I'm hoping to do is sell everything eventually.
Okay.
What I'm thinking to do is if you look at like someone like Cara or Surcorp, they have 3 or 4 or more brands, obviously. And, if I can build this many of them, I'll just dump the whole load probably in like 7 or 8 years when I hit around 40, 41. I'll probably keep a few places, like unique places that will build along the way, that it may maybe be like a clubhouse kind of idea, you know, because I like the business and I know it well. It's just, honestly, there's so many moving parts. You're no matter what's going on, like it's interesting. I'm in an interesting phase right now because the market's really down because the hike in minimum wage. So that's actually why I'm moving so quick, because the hike in minimum wage hit. It's hurting so many restaurants. The number of restaurants that are going to close this year is like 25% in Ontario. That's an alarming number. So
what's the minimum wage at currently? I don't keep
14. No, 14. I know it's $14.
Okay.
So for me, so it's one of those things where it went up 21% though. So the challenge is that was the hard thing. So it's not so much about what it is as much as how much it went up. So that was kind of the case. And then for me, it was also because where we sell a final product, so you have to deal with distributors, wholesalers, and all these other things. So our hard costs end up going up by 9%. So if you make 10% as a business owner, now you make 1. So your thought process would be, oh, well, I'll just increase my prices. Problem is the rest of the market didn't do that. Too many small businesses aren't going to feel it until their fiscal end. They won't really realize what's happening until it's too late. And because they're not making that adjustment, you also can't price yourself out of the market. So the strategy is make some small adjustments, kind of eat your profit margins for the next couple of years. But as everybody's closing, for the next 2 years, leasing a restaurant will be at the lowest cost for the next 20, unless some real shit hits the fan. But I mean, based on how trends go. And then also like buying chattels, refrigerators, kitchen stuff, just anything, you can buy it for 10 to 20 cents on the dollar. So that's why for me, it's like when you know your market well and you're like financially capable of doing it, you just move as quick as you can, because you know in the next 3 to 4 years you're going to come out on top.
Okay.
So that's the play.
And what's the like most profitable thing that you sell in the restaurants? I mean, I assume you got your liquor license going and everything. Is that the highest margin item, like the biggest ticket item? What do you want people buying the most?
You know what, honestly, the way you build it, it's kind of, you try to equal out your cost so that your food cost is like 30 or less and your liquor cost is 30 or less. So certain things like your rail liquor, you're going to make a little more money on, and draft, you're going to lose a little bit of money. Like not lose it, but you're going to make, your margins aren't quite as good. So it kind of balances out. I mean, it's nice that we do late night. So we're lucky, like probably 5 nights a week, we have a really good late night crowd from like, I don't know, 11 to 2. So that helps, because the thing is that the reality with that is it takes a lot less work to prepare a beer. Just take the top off and serve it to someone. So your employment cost is way lower. So you're better off selling booze just for that purpose alone. Otherwise, the big thing with them is you want to sell the experience, because it's not, I don't need someone to come in and be like, oh, good. If they buy 10 of these one things, I want them to come in and love it so that they come back all the time. That's where the real value is. It's not so much in what they're buying, because you balance it out. It evens out for you.
Are you running any incentive contests, anything like that, where they get in there, they make a purchase, they post it on their Instagram, post it on the social media, they get a 10% off coupon, anything like that? Share it with a friend, get a discount, draw more people in, all sorts of stuff. Not
right now. I do like that. We had that idea at Danforth, but at Port Credit, it's just been so crazy. We just haven't bothered. We are going to be doing stuff like that, I think. So we're opening up this new place called Nacho Bar. It's like I said, it was sort of our West Coast dive idea. For that, we're really, really getting big on social. So for me, I think it's super imperative that we are all over everything when it comes to social media. So whether like that kind of stuff, we'll be crazy with it. We were thinking of some things with the Nomads hat, because like we have the logo with the O and the line over it, and because Nomads Traveler, running a contest about people taking photos with their Nomads hats on different parts of the world. But again, like it's interesting, but it's sort of like kitschy versus driving sales, right? One of the hardest things to do, honestly, in restaurants right now is driving sales from social media into your store. Like we've had big influencers come in. We've had guys with a couple 100,000 followers that are just food based. And, you you put up a video, it gets like 70,000 views, but you get like 3 people walk in.
Right.
It just doesn't seem to translate. I don't understand. It's an interesting problem to have. Like you really have to focus in your local area for your restaurants, I find, more than anything. One of the things we did at Danforth that worked well was like actually door-to-door mailers, believe it or not. Just more like old grassroots kind of marketing was more effective.
Yeah. I suppose it would be for those local style of businesses. I mean, we briefly discussed the Instagram local marketing strategies and whatnot. Even the paid ads might do well. Have you tried that? The paid advertising through Instagram's PPC? Local?
I've tried a couple. Little things, but nothing crazy. I think for me is I like to test the market when I know I'm going to be able to provide the content and keep it going. And I can actually be like, okay, did this work? What did it do? How did that? We did a bunch of stuff on Facebook. I spent some time there, but again, the engagement was high, the interest was high, but it's like the instant gratification for people is like they have to buy something. They want to be able to click that button and buy whatever it is, the t-shirt, the shoes, the experience, whatever. So the tough thing is it's hard to get people on social media getting excited about that and going in to buy. We did have an idea to maybe start selling like just exclusive deals on Facebook. Like, like the 2 can dine kind of deals, or like, get a $50 gift card for $35 kind of thing. So they do instantly have to purchase something and then they have to make an effort to come in. But we didn't. We ended up dialing back on that just for the summer because things were a little crazy. But I do want to get creative with the marketing. I think that there's a big space right now in restaurants. If you can find a way to translate traffic from social media into restaurants, you will make yourself very rich.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Every single person will be trying to figure out, or will be paying for your service to do that.
Right. You got to think of what's his name, Nurse at Salt Bay, right? He's got like 20 freaking restaurants now, strictly from Instagram. Like he's doing pretty good. He's a perfect example I can think of. Like literally, he's like opening up all across the world just from his damn freaking social media.
It's ridiculous.
yeah. Like I remember seeing his videos when he had like under 1 million subs. He's just like flying up now. So yeah, if you can scale it exactly like you're saying, it's like it's a gold mine. It's just especially when it becomes like a trendy thing to be in that restaurant and make that like people go to his restaurants now because it's trendy. Because they want to make a video on Instagram there, and maybe he's there too. Like I just saw a video of some guy filming him cutting a steak at one of the restaurants, and the guy, while filming, I don't know if you saw this, he like fell over
off the chair.
It's just like that's how it's become. People are just, they don't even care about the food, don't care anything, they just want to film and be trendy, and that's it. So
it's experiential marketing, like you said. They want to be a part of what's going on. So one of the things actually we're doing with Nacho Bar that I did with El Jefe is there's gonna be like 3 or 4 items on the menu that are just fucking ridiculous. Like I have an idea for like the Donald Trump nachos, because you know how they do nachos like red, white, and blue? They're like different dyes.
Yeah.
So it's such a ridiculous item. You know, like do the Mexican wall with tacos and just be stupid about it. Make it like a $40 item, but something so big and ridiculous that when people see it on social media, because so many people are foodies, they're going to be like, I got to go experience this. I got to put this on my Instagram. So that draws people in. Like I used to do a 5-pound burrito at El Jefe, and it was all over social media. It was enough of a draw, you know, because I don't feel right now that me or anybody that's a part of our business is a big enough brand themselves. So you have to find some way to draw them into that experience. So hopefully that works again for us.
Yeah, and another perfect example is Lamana Bakery. I don't know if you've heard of that one in
No, I haven't.
Pickering, I think they are, Port Union area. They have a pizza slice that's the size of a pizza. And it's the exact same concept. Like literally people go in, take a picture, hold it up. It's like, I can't really see, but it's huge.
Yeah.
It's massive. And it costs about $20. Probably about the same size as a pizza, but I was even going to go in and post a picture with it. I'm still planning to do so. And it's just that exact, like drawing people in for that crazy item. You know, I think it's, especially you can mark those things up when they're just so, I don't know, interesting, unique.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you can. And it's the thing for me that I find it actually creates, like, you can mark it up and you can make your money off of it. But the reality is if you sell it for $50 or $60 versus 50 rather, you know, you make an extra $10. But it's like, if you get it on 40 social platforms, without people that have followers, fuck the $10. Who cares?
Right.
It's just that thing that people need to be a part of. So we've got some people on board that we're friends with, that we know that have a decent following. So once we get that up, we're going to start to push that out there and see if we can get that to kind of create some traffic, hopefully.
Yeah, I'm excited to watch that all unfold.
Yeah.
It should be interesting because there is a lot of potential there in just playing around with the different marketing strategies. I mean, I as you know, I don't have too many brick and mortar style businesses. The last one I had was like a clothing store pop-up shop that I had years ago. I ended up selling that, but I haven't really played too much of the brick and mortar myself. I just do it for clients, and you know, for myself, I would love to experiment with that stuff, just because just to actually see people walk through the door based on what you're doing. It's like the immediate, like, where did you hear about us or whatever? And it's like, oh, your Instagram. It's like, oh, wow. And you're here physically, you're here, you know, it's pretty cool. Yeah. I'm not too used to it.
No, it's one of the things I noticed works well. And so when we launch, and I touched base with you on this, when we launch Nacho Bar, when we do the conversion, we're going to document the whole process. So basically we're going to create like a reality TV documentary style thing of us like converting everything over. And then what I've done is I actually have some good buddies at big bars down in Toronto. Just popular, big places. They're going to come work there like once a week and once every couple weeks, something like that. So that I've got new people there all the time that have a draw. So they'll come to the place. But then we're actually going to set up like a talking head corner where we're going to light it. Like we're going to light it properly, paint it on the wall. I have a camera, like an extra stand. We're going to leave there. And like when they go in, they can talk some shit on their shift. People can get drunk and go and talk on it. You can spin it around and face like the restaurant and stuff like that. So essentially we're going to keep like a reality TV concept going through like as like a marketing thing, because you know one of the things Gary Vee says is if you have that pillar piece of content that you don't create, or you don't create, you rather document. Well, fuck, that'll probably be the easiest thing we can do, and it might be interesting. If it works, what you'll see is people are going to want to be there to be a part of what they're seeing online. Right. So they're going to want to come and experience it and be like, oh, I'm here doing this and blah blah, like I'm on this show with all these other people that are like, you know, popular in the bar scene and da 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 da. So I mean, it's interesting. It's like a bit of a science project to me. So I'm interested to see how that goes.
Yeah. I'd want to come and check that out too. I'd probably be on there.
You know what I mean? Like, well, if it's interesting enough, right? And it's getting 10, 20,000 views and you see a bunch of people that are kind of cool or have followings or whatever, you're like, it's like an opportunity for you to get this social exposure in real life. So I was like,
Yeah. And do you have anything else on the horizon, or it's just the restaurants that you're focusing on right now?
A couple things actually, yeah. So I've got another platform we're launching. It's a competitive product to like an Uber Eats or a Foodora or whatever it is. The approach that we're taking that's different though is rather than just go for like a broad brand and like Foodora, Uber, whatever it is, we're going to be local. So like everywhere that we have a restaurant, we're going to open up a delivery system. And it's like, think of it as like local eats, I would say, but like I'm doing one in Port Credit. We're calling it Port Credit Eats. You know, we're doing one at Danforth called Danforth Eats. So you have this sort of, and it's like four restaurant owners by restaurant owners. That's kind of the concept. So one of the big things is that Uber and Foodora and all these other guys, they gouge in their pricing. Like you lose 27% per sale. So you lose money. When you sell food, you lose money. You can't do it like, cause your margins aren't that good. We're coming in at like, we're coming in at 15%. There's money to be made at 15%. It's also a small business. We do the delivery through our own restaurant, even though it's not masked as NoMads or Nacho Bar. It's just like the local Eats brand. So we know that delivery will be good. So there'll be no issues there. We know that we can manage it. It'll be all within our neighborhood. And people, like small business owners, want to work within their community. So we're kind of pitching this. It's part of the community thing, even though we'll pop them up at different locations. And then the big thing is just geography. So every time we open a restaurant, we do the same thing. And it helps our brand get exposure for, I mean, next to nothing, obviously, because we're not going to charge ourselves for delivery. But then also we get to take in a piece of that financial pie. But what's happening in that business right now, it's all about like back-end mergers. And it is a huge, 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 huge game. So like, what is it? Just Eats? No, not Just Eats. Skip the Dishes. They sold for like $400 million. Oh, shit. And they did a great job. I actually went to school with one of the girls who's dating the CFO, and she's a great girl. And they did a really good job of their business, and their model was great, and they've covered a lot of geography. But the big thing is people are buying geography more than anything. So if you don't worry about your margins for like, say, 2-3 years, and all you worry about is landscape, someone's going to come in, basically buy it out for a huge price, and then do whatever model they want. But they know they have the customer base, which is where the value is. Right. So we're doing that. So that's kind of top of mind right now. Vertical, which you know about, which is, again, it's a bit in the back burner. It's just so tough to get all the content ready for that, which is like that. It's an influence marketing monetization platform, essentially. And it's just tough to get all of our ducks in a row and get that ready to go. Because you know how it is. It's just, especially restaurants in the summer are so busy that it's hard to make the extra time. The last thing actually is we're jumping back into, and with your help and everything, is media. So like we have a company like Do Alive Media. We started it about 1.5 years, 2 years ago. And what we were doing is basically it's a personal brand building company. And essentially, I think, and you would know this well, when you're an entrepreneur, what you try to do is you try to build 1 to 2 to 3 to 4, 5 companies that work in synergy, right? So if you've got the restaurants, then I've got a construction company. I build my own restaurants, and then I've got a media company that'll promote this and all these other. So they kind of work synergistically in a sense. And what the value for us is if we build, say, 8-10 restaurants with the development company, now that development company can actually go get its own work because it built all these successful restaurants, and if the branding company can build the restaurants and anything else that's kind of in its way, now the branding company has some weight and can go pick up work outside just because it built our own brand. You know what I mean? So we're giving that a big push. I've got 2 or 3 interns on right now, which has been good. People that are just basically working at the restaurants. I've worked with them in the past. We're doing filming, editing, all the other stuff, but we're focusing on content creation because I feel like, and you can actually verify this for me more than anybody probably. Companies are no longer reaching out going, build my following to 1 million. They're coming out and going, can you make content for us? Can you make good content? People are posting like, Park Bench the other day made a post for a job looking for a D-Rock, like the guy who falls around Gary Vee. Is people are looking for someone to create amazing content for them. And I don't know how to build 1 million followers on anything. Like I just don't, or I'd have 1 million followers. But I think it's got to a point now where the Wild West aspect of it is dead. You don't just jump on there and go, oh, I got 1 million followers now because I'm a hot chick. Like that's just dead now. You can't do it. You have to have value. And the only way you get value is through consistent content and good high quality content. So I feel like a lot of people in the next 1 year to 3 years are really going to be looking for people to come on board because I truly believe that every company and every person is going to become brand first and then what you do. So I think that market is going to open itself up a lot in the next few years.
Yeah, it does. It makes a lot of sense. Content is king. It's funny. It's like that's the thing for 2018 especially. It's like the biggest possible thing. I mean, we're still discussing back and forth like 1 post a day and trying to hit that, but really like people are crushing 6 posts a day. Yeah. And I mean, I even talk to a lot of those people, and we're in some messaging groups now with a couple of them, and it's just like they wake up and it's like their day is making content and engaging and networking on Instagram, on these platforms. And it's like, that's their full job. And I mean, I think this is only something that's really come to fruition over the past 2 years, that people can actually wake up and just stare at these little devices and like, I'm working right now, and just like digging around Instagram. I find it's like a balance for me of just trying to see at what point am I wasting time and at what point am I doing something that's actually productive and efficient. And it's funny because it's such a quick switch. Sometimes I'll be scrolling on Instagram and it's like, you know what, the past 5 minutes, I've just been dicking around. I'm not doing anything efficient here. I'm just screwing around. So it's like I have to know when to stop that, and it's just it's finding that balance right now that's tricky for me. Even producing my own content first of all, but then producing it on like my other accounts, and like it's funny because I'll focus so much on my own. I flip over to my other accounts and I'm like, oh shoot, I haven't posted in like 4 days on this one. holy crap. So I got constantly, and you notice it immediately. You get the immediate feedback from your followers, from your audience. Like the followers either drop off, the engagement drops off. Like it's like right there. It's like, I need to be better at that. I need to get better every single time. I was actually talking with Grace, I think it was yesterday or the day before, because I posted this yoga picture, right? Of like some yoga pose.
Yeah, I saw some. Yeah.
It was her idea, and she wanted to go out and do the yoga pose. So I was like out in the rain. She's like, she got this whole picture and this idea how she wanted to do it. I took the picture for her. She's like, no, the raindrops aren't splashing hard enough to make the picture look cool. And I was like, you know what? It's not about that. You just need to get it out. Your next post is going to be better. Your next post after that, better. But if you stop here, you're not allowing that compounding effect to take place. I hopped on her idea. I basically took her idea. I was like, let me take a shot. Take a shot. Boom. I'm like, it's one of my best performing photo posts. And that's how it goes. You never know when just making that little effort, I wasn't fully satisfied with that post right as I'm making it. And it's funny, I have that happen to me all the time. I'm like, you know what? I don't think this is a perfect post, but then I just hit share anyways, because I'm like, what is a perfect post, Yeah, you only learn as time goes on when you do it, and just a trial and error process. So now I know I can do more yoga stuff. Like that's it. I don't post it too often, but I can start to integrate it because I got that immediate feedback from the community. And now I'm like, oh, okay. Like I got so many DMs from that post. People like, how did you do that pose? How did you do this? And like, why don't your fingers hurt when you're, and I'm just like engaging with the people through messaging. And I think Instagram algorithm picks that up. I think they know that I got a DM from the post. I responded back to the community. I engaged, I helped them. They know. Because all of a sudden my post performance goes up. I hit the explore page more. Like I was just looking at the analytics. It just all makes sense. So I think that a lot of what we don't realize goes on in the background with Instagram's algorithm, it really is happening. They want you to run it like a community, like really. Yeah,
they want you to be super participative as much as you can be. Like, you have to. Yeah, I think the same thing. I think a lot of times you sit there and wait for the perfect piece of content or anything. And for me, I've taken to the idea that like, just get shit out. Like obviously that's why what's nice with the production team is that it's good production quality. Like it's transcribed, the video looks good, the sound is good, the lighting's like it's fine, you know what I mean? But it's not perfect. I don't put filters on anything because it's like then you have to try to upkeep something that is too perfect that you can't. So I'm just like, fuck it, whatever, as long as it fits the brand, then just throw it out. I think for me, the hard thing is I can't stay focused because I'm not one thing, like you showed me your buddy the other day, Gorilla Zen, I think it was. His stuff's great, but it's hyper focused.
Yeah, it's niche.
I don't know.
Niche, yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's real. I think that goes a long way to help you get a good build. Mm-hmm. But I mean, for me to be true to myself and where I think my brand's going to be in 5 years, I can't just do fitness. I can't just do entrepreneurship. I have to kind of be the full spectrum of who I am. So it's hard to sort of put stuff out and promote it because a lot of times I promoted one video and they looked at it and then a number of people came to my page but didn't join, didn't like it, didn't follow me. And it's like there may not have been enough content that was just like what I promoted. But I don't know, I think there's going to be inertia for me out of the gates. It's going to take a while. But I think once I catch my stride, I think it'll blow up.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is, catching your stride. I mean, exactly like with my post I just made that's a yoga picture. I would say I've only posted like 2-3 other yoga pictures to date. The rest of it is all like fitness, food, this type of stuff. But based on that, I know that how I work based on the whole total grid. So right now, every 6th post, I'm doing one of those quote pictures. Yeah. So every 6th one, I'm like, boom, quote picture, because it works for my grid the way I want it to look. Now I can integrate the yoga post maybe on the 4th, 3rd, I can slide it in and just have one ready and always have yoga post ready, quote post ready. So I know that when that 3rd post hits, boom, it's up. Today I was going to film like a training video, but I don't know if I mentioned on social earlier, but I wiped out skateboarding this morning, so I'm kind of not feeling entirely up to it. So I was like, I'm going to do a squat video and something like my hip feels jacked up right now, so I don't think I'm going to do it.
Take it easy, yeah.
Yeah, I'm probably just going to do. Actually, I messaged Gorilla Zen because I was just asking him like, hey man, what should I do for my knee? My patella's like inflamed right now. My hip is jacked, so he's like giving me some tips on how I can mobilize those areas. But yeah, like it's really important to kind of experiment and then just see what works best for you. For him, I know he's so niched up with his account. It works really well. Even for my podcast, this podcast account, it does pretty good because it's just so niche. Like it's like that's all I post is like relating to spirituality or business or podcasting, whatever it may be. And people just love it. So I noticed that I get pretty good return in terms of follower growth and whatnot on that account, especially when I run ads. but yeah, it's just about finding that stride, I think, is really important. And I think you're getting there, like, especially for yours, if you're doing like that fitness post. You did one recently where you're showing yourself all jacked and tanned and whatnot. If you did that like every sixth post, you just know I'm going to be posting a shirtless. I started taking off my shirt more in posts too, because I noticed those perform.
It does better. It always does better. Yeah, I noticed that. It's one of the things where the vanity is not there. Is that I'd actually rather do other things. So I think I add value in other ways. But people are like, I want to see you with your shirt off. I'm like, fuck, all right.
Yeah.
That's what it is. You're like, all right, fine. I mean, it doesn't take away from who you are, but you're kind of like, well, this is like I put out videos, like when I do rants or other entrepreneur videos, I'm like, there's a lot of value here because this is a really big lesson for me. If you want to be an entrepreneur, this is fucking gold. And it's like, nah. I'm like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Like, how does that
take your shirt off?
And I'm like, all right then. But I agree with you. I think that's one of the big things is I want to get into more of a pattern where there's a little more structure. So right now I have been posting every day for like 2 weeks, roughly. Maybe not quite, but close. So I've been good. Mm-hmm. But it's getting into that system where it's like you said, I do a rant maybe twice a week, or then I post 1 or 2 other things, maybe one for the podcast and one for like a Z2B video. And then it's like maybe 2 or 3 other things have to be fitness. Fitness is so good. It works so well on Instagram. And because like you and I both have an aptitude for it, or we're chasing something down, like you do your powerlifting, you look good. I do my like physique stuff. I look good. So it's like, it's a big part of it's actually where a lot of our audience probably came from. So we can't really shy away from it. But eventually I'd like to try to work people over, towards more of the entrepreneur stuff. We'll see.
Right. I think the fitness, it validates somewhat what you're doing when you talk about entrepreneurship or motivation or anything like that, because it's like, I can apply this to business, but I can apply it to my body, to my wellness, to my health,
That's fair. Yeah,
I do the powerlifting because I'll have my phone doing a story and I'll talk about some woo-woo spiritual something or other that's just like maybe goes over some people's head, maybe just doesn't make any sense, but then I'll go and post a lift. Just, it's so contradictory to the other style of content. It's just to show another, I don't know. I'm almost like, imagine that you have a closet full of masks that you can put on. So you just put on this mask, I'm a fitness strong dude. I'm a spiritual dude. But like you said, you want to have a whole variety of masks. You don't just want to constantly throw on the same one, like those girl accounts or those ones that are super niched up. You just want to show that you're just a completely diverse individual. So I think that there's a lot of longevity there. Even when I was speaking with some YouTube staff members or something, they try to help me tailor my channel content and whatnot. And I was telling them like my channel on YouTube is not super niched. So the growth isn't just ridiculous like a lot of other people. And from their perspective, they're like, no, what you're doing is great. The diverse ones actually have a lot of longevity because once they do catch on, you can post whatever the hell you want. People are just, it's a turtles race with that one. You're not the rabbit or the hare flying through. You just got to be patient, produce the content, and just wait for the results. Like my YouTube's been pretty slow over the years, but I think it's starting to do a little bit better now, especially Instagram as well. Like I'm trying to really integrate everything. But that was their take on it. And I thought it was really neat because from their perspective, like they got off the phone with me, they called up someone else, and they have that full range of knowing what channels are going to perform better, especially over time. So I think we just have to hold out and just wait, be patient.
Yeah. I mean, I think for you, it's the same thing for me. It's like we have other ways to make our money. So we don't look at this as like just a business. Like I look at it as a long game. So for me, it's like when I finish doing restaurants in the next 7-8 years, I hope to, I'll do a lot of other things along the way, but I hope at that point that I've actually developed a following that's big enough in that time. Like I'm realistic to think like 7-8 years from now, and it might take a year, it might take 2 years. I don't know. But my long game is like, I'm just going to keep doing the content because it's kind of like my brand, like our restaurant NoMads. NoMads isn't like Mexican. It's not Italian. It's NoMads. It's everything. So you hit inertia right away because people are like, well, what do you have? What are you? So when they come in, the food's great, service is great, and our customer retention's phenomenal. But sometimes getting them in the door because they don't know because you're a little bit of everything is challenging. And that's the same, but at the same time, if you look at any restaurant that scales, like Earl's, Milestones, Moxie's, you go there, you can get sushi, you can get fried chicken, you can get all of it. You get something from everywhere because at that level, that's what you have to be able to provide. It's just getting out of the gates with that, like you said, being a diverse content producer. You're like, well, fuck, this is going to be a bit of a slow build, but once it catches fire, we'll be good. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it is a lot like that restaurant menu too. Yeah, because you're starting up that new one, which is more specific to, So, you're going to be able to compare the two.
but I think that there's a lot more longevity in the other approach. So yeah, it's something that we're working towards anyways. I've actually taken on a few different new projects myself too. And you mentioned synergy earlier. So that is very true. I always try to synergize what I'm doing. I'm really heavily focusing more on I think we briefly talked about it, but Amazon now, like selling on Amazon, and basically just want to, just more ways of like working smart, not hard. You know what I mean? Like just taking a good chunk, a heap of cash, creating some products, throwing it on Amazon, creating a brand, and just sending all of it to their warehouse and letting them deal with it. Like I just want to wake up, open my phone, and just like see cha-ching, 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 like the whole way down. I don't want to even have to talk to anyone. I don't have to deal with anyone. Like that's my approach. So it's something I've been building over the years, and just building it with different businesses, different brands. And the Amazon thing is something I'm really excited about right now. So I'm actually, like today I was in the process of doing a lot of product research and whatnot. I'm already like 15 hours in on product research. So it's been pretty interesting. But
yeah, I think that's interesting. I like, it's like, if you can create a machine that can build a brand, that can market a product, you can pretty much sell anything. And that's what it's like online right now. So if that's where you're headed and what you're doing, it's just, you can't lose. You just see what's happening in the market, what's going on, and the quicker you can move, the better you're going to be. And if you can pump something through, if you can build a brand through social and market it effectively through Amazon, like you're just going to win. You can pretty much do anything. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of a fail safe. It's like a bank. I like it. That's a good strategy.
Yeah. No, I love, even this morning I woke up and I thought, you can do anything. Well, every person has the opportunity to do anything with their day, with their 24-hour day. And a lot of people, they go into an office, they sit at their desk, and they're just, I have a lot of buddies that are in accounting for large government things. And it's just like, they tell me their day, and it's literally like they sometimes they don't experience sunlight, like especially in the winter seasons. They'll take the the transit in, be under the tunnels, go up to their office, come back out, the sun is gone, and that's their day. And it's like they just sat grinding away at a desk, and it can really eat away at you. So I find it's hard for those types of people to get that motivation to start something out on their own. A lot of times they get home and they just feel so drained. They don't want to work out. They don't want to eat properly. They don't want to do any business stuff for themselves. It's like lacking that motivation to access your pure potential, like in that 24-hour day. So today I just woke up and I felt this, like right before I wiped out, I felt so blessed for having that opportunity, just waking up and it's like, well, you know what am I going to do today? I'm going to make, and I've gotten this in my mind now, that every day I want it to be a 10x day. I want to wake up, I want to make a product, and if I invest $500 to buy 500 units of the product, then I want to turn that into 5,000. I want to turn, the next day 50,000. Next, just constantly growing and improving, and having that opportunity, and just recognizing that it's there. It's always there for you, just to be grasped, right? I think everything is in this, like when I started getting into more woo-woo talks, I think everything is in like an etheric plane. I think everything is in like a conceptual space, almost like you come up with an idea, you throw it up in the air, and it's there for you. You just have to reach up and kind of claim it, bring it down, bring it down. I couldn't agree more. I'm actually very much the same way. I see a lot of things like that, like collective consciousness and shit. Like it's a very real thing. And I think that like you nailed it, where a lot of people get stuck in a bad pattern or a bad routine, and for some reason they can't pull themselves out of it. They sit and, like I did a rant recently about waiting for an opportunity. You can't wait. You have to go create it. I think people don't know what they want. They don't know the strategy. They don't know they have to go actually do it and get something out of it. And I think they get stuck in such a hole of like this accounting hole, not seeing sunlight and doing these things, where the longer they go, I think the harder it gets to snap. And like it just strengthens that like synapses in the sense where it's like, this is just who I am and what I have to do. So I would say that we're lucky in the sense that we get to spend our time doing what we want. We're young enough that we've actually realized how much control we have over our lives. And I would say in the next like 10, 20 years, we're going to cause a lot of shit. It'll be nice. Yeah, exactly. And it is like people, it's that conditioning. And then all of a sudden they think that, like you said, that is their reality, that is the only reality they come to understand. But really it's just one construct, and it's just one, and a construct to me is something that is inherently supposed to be broken, right. Like there's systems, and then there's systems busters. I consider us to be systems busters because we understand, 100%. Recognize the system, you see it, but every game is meant to be played, in its own unique way. And then you can also like hack games, and you can hack life. And I think when people get in those patterns, it's like they don't realize they have that opportunity there. They don't realize that they could just make that shift or that adjustment. It's tricky for me because I speak with a lot of those people that are in those situations, and it's like I don't want to. Like I try to encourage that they can do, like even this one particular buddy I'm thinking about, that's an accountant. He bought a squat rack. It's in his basement. He doesn't use it. It's set up there. Like he has all this gym equipment. He just doesn't use it because he gets home. Like he had the initial motivation when I actually started getting into powerlifting, going back like 5-6 years. he was like, oh shit, okay, I'm gonna get a squat rack too. Like, and he was motivated by watching me and what I'm doing. And that's what I hope to achieve when I show stuff to people. I get a lot of mixed reviews because a lot of people think that I'm just trying to be flashy or show something off. And it's like, no, I'm just trying to show you that you can make a decision to live how you want to live in that moment, every moment, But then, he like set up the squat rack and everything, just hasn't used it for 5 years, like still not in the greatest shape, still kind of depressed. Well, yes, depressed 100%. So it's like, it's a tricky thing to get people out of that state of mind. And, I just keep striving forward to try and do that. Like, I hope people watch this podcast and they're like, wow, these guys, like, yes, let's do it. I know what they're talking about. It's there for me. I want to claim it. I want to take ownership of my life.
I think the hard thing is for people, I think it's repetition. It's as many times, not quite as many, but as many times as they've been doing the same shitty thing every day that they don't love, is almost as many times they need to hear that they can make a change and get somewhere with it. You know what I mean? And it's amazing how, like, I wish people would have at least a modicum of success in a direction they really appreciated, because momentum is such a crazy thing. Like, once you start, like you said, you condition yourself. And once you realize what is actually out there and what you can do and how you can spend your life, you don't, like, I think so many people they feel that they're a victim of a capricious set of circumstances. It's almost like they're the reader in their life of suspense and instead of like the author in their life of excitement, in a sense. You know what I mean? And they don't pick it up. And it's a lot of times coming from people like us. And I mean, you gauge your audience and the person you're speaking to, but a lot of times it's like, it seems fluffy. It does seem like bullshit, because I think a lot of people only know their own experience, and that's what life is. So they don't expect it to be any other way. And when they hear that it can be, you almost sound like you said, you got to almost be careful not to get on your horse, because people are like, oh, easy there, bud, like whatever. It's like, no, I'm just trying to help. I just want you to realize what's out there. But it's one of those, I guess you can lead a horse to water kind of thing, right? So
yeah. People are very sensitive to it. Even people close.
100%.
Even when I speak to Grace, just very sensitive to it. Like, if I try to give some suggestion or some opinion, it's not like I'm trying to come from some high place. At the end of the day, I want everyone to succeed. Like, I want
I'm the exact same way. Yeah.
It's just that I speak a lot. Like, I know you speak a lot too, and I'll rant and I'll say things, and it's like, don't get caught up on Adam Evans ranting. Just focus on what's being said and try to, if you need to even just twist that and paraphrase it in your own mind, however you want, that's going to communicate properly to you, just do it. But don't get caught up on the verbiage of what I'm saying. I even posted one of those quote spiritual pictures 2 days ago, something like that. And someone commented on it and said, define spirit and define spiritual. And I got in like a lengthy discussion debate with a philosophical materialist who's basically thinking or saying that he or she doesn't believe in anything that's not being able to, or it can't be represented in a lab, physically shown. Like, here's spirit right here, I can prove it, I can touch it, and it's like, it's really hard to get through to people that are just seeing things in the one way, or just taking words and just taking the one definition for them and having this tunnel vision view of like what that is. So I'm just experiencing more.
Yeah. I feel like when people have an expectation, and I think that everybody has a screen over every word. You can say mom and someone can think love. They can also think abandonment. So no matter what you say, people have a pre-screen. And when people fixate on these things and they're not flexible or fluid on how if they're gonna change their opinion or how things work, they're kind of fucked. It's like I don't get into religion talks with people. If they're like, oh, I have blind faith, I'm like, okay, then I'm not even gonna bother talking to you about it, because you believe in something that there's no room for opinion or conversation. So you leave it alone. And it's a shame when you meet people that it's like they fixate to something that is actually to their detriment, and they're not willing to sort of be, like I said, flexible on changing their mind or growing or expanding or becoming better. It's like, I never understand. Like, I think over association with anything is dangerous. Even if you over associate with being a doctor or, a lawyer or whatever it is, when you over associate with anything in particular, you sort of limit yourself from whatever else could be happening. You know what I mean? Or wherever else you could be. Maybe a doctor is only what you were supposed to be for 10 years of your life. Then you're going to go, I don't know, be an astronaut. You know what I mean? It's somewhat arbitrary, obviously. Mm-hmm. But I feel like people, they become a little too fixated on their opinions and what they think they know is right all the time. And for me, I think that is probably one of the most detrimental concepts. I actually think pride is the number one killer of success and growth. That's what I believe.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes total sense. Yeah. And I've been caught in that a bunch of times as well. It's really hard in that moment to give something space enough that you can recognize pride arising within yourself and know that, oh, yeah, I see that. You want me to go that way, but maybe I should just kind of back down or lay off this and it happens a lot, especially in business. So.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Ego, man. Male ego is such a dangerous and fragile little thing.
Yeah. I think that once you have like a male ego or, people in social media, people in the public eye that have like such a strong masculine ego, but to have also that yin side of them as well, that yielding side, to really check the pride. I think that those individuals, and we're much akin to that. Those are the ones that are carrying forth like a new generation of content, a new generation of communication and transmission of like what's really truthful, what's really absolute, what's important in the world. Not the illusions that we constantly perpetuate everything, that those false identities and stuff like that. Just seeing through it, seeing past it, I think is really important.
That's a really, really good point. That was very well put. I like that.
Yeah. Well, I did just have a podcast with a freaking monk recently. It was pretty interesting.
Oh, nice.
I don't know if you saw it. Yeah, it was pretty cool. He's like a disciple of the Dalai Lama. So it's pretty
awesome.
talking to him. Yeah. And I'm really enjoying this podcast as a whole, like just getting different people on. Right now I'm actually scheduling Vida Guerrera as well. So I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, it's going to be pretty cool. Just like reaching out to people and being like, hey, let's have a conversation about something, And I even with her, I sent her a message like, hey, let's just talk about joy and love and how to perpetuate that. I don't even care about like, we don't need to talk about your modeling or anything like this. Like we completely do away with all that. I think that she expresses herself through her physicality, but I think that's part of the illusion. That's part of the false identity. There's something deeper behind there that I really want to kind of chip away at. And I think that happens with everyone. I think everyone has that, it's just like
100%.
They carry that false identity so much. So sometimes it's like, they don't even realize there's something under there to be chipped away at,
So I find this I call it a social mask. I think that people get caught up in it. It's like, they're always trying to be something they're not, or it'll change from time to time or whatever it is, but they're so fragile. It's because if they're not being honest with themselves, and you see it everywhere it's almost like if you're like you and I don't know what you'd call it. People call it, there's so many different things, but I mean, when you are aware that there's an ego and sometimes you get revved up and you're like, whoa, and then you can calm the voice in your own head. It's so easy to see other people that don't have control over it.
Yeah.
It's kind of, it's tough. It's a tough thing to see. You can see it, what it is. You know what I mean? So that's crazy. Yeah. Good for you. That'll be interesting. I like that.
Yeah. That'll be pretty fun too. There's a few others that I got lined up. Like I shot a bunch of emails to clients, like business clients that they have like multiple different corporate things. Half of them didn't reply to me because it's funny. They only reply if it has to do with their business and they need me to do something, but they completely disregard like, hey man, you want to come on my podcast? They're like, I don't know.
Nice.
That's how business people go. So, but I actually have a couple of them scheduled. One of them, he's in Hong Kong. He's got multiple businesses. He's like an investment company. So it's going to be neat too. But
good.
Yeah. Just really excited for it. And on that note, actually, your podcast, you've been pumping out more content with that and your brother and everything.
Yeah.
Do you have like a set schedule for that?
We try to do it every Monday. It's just we're falling a little bit behind in terms of editing right now. Michael's learning the editing process from Megan, so he's catching up, but it's also just making the time for a lot of other things. So yeah, we try to do it every Monday, but then I've also started picking up other things, like I'm doing this with you. I did another podcast the other day with Get a Grip Studios up in North York, and then I did the thing with at Celebration Square with Insaga News. So I've had other things that have keeping me kind of going. So we're trying to get them in once a week, but I think realistically once every 2 weeks is probably going to be our move soon. But we'll
That's still pretty good. Yeah. I mean, I probably put out, every 2 weeks, I'd say on average.
Yeah.
I think it's just another great medium that, and for someone, especially such as yourself, a speaker, I think is really important to get on these platforms. And your brother's great too. And the back and forth and the banter and everything is really great. So
thanks.
Yeah. So I'll put anyone that's listening to this, I'll put all the links to your podcast and everything else in the description and your Instagram and all that stuff so that people can check it out. But,
I appreciate it.
Yeah. I don't have any too much other questions or anything to go over with you, but thanks for being on again. And
thanks for having me, man. I always enjoy chatting with you. I feel like you and I have our mindset's very similar. We do different things, but our mindset's always very much in the same place. So I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Like people that are kind of on that same, wavelength. That's nice.
It's the hashtag hustle hard, and we're part of the movement. Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. Well, that's nice. I appreciate it. It'd be nice. I'll have you out here one time to do it with me and Mikey as well. That'll be interesting. It's a bit of a gas, but I mean, like, me, I still do my entrepreneur thing while I'm on there. So it'll be good to have you on.
For sure. All right, cool. Well, I'll talk to you again soon, and I'll see you on social media stuff.
Sounds good, bro. Thanks.
See you.
All right, later.